Today's class is on molarity and millimole, normality and milliequivalent, and titration.
Today we are going to discuss about a portion of the redox reactions which is related with our practical chemistry. First is the concept of molarity and millimole. Concept of molarity and millimole. Now, first we have to know the strength of a solution. Strength of a solution. What does it mean? Strength of a solution means amount of substance present in 1 liter solution. Now this strength can be measured in two ways. Number one is the molarity. First part is the molarity, which is expressed as capital M, and this is nothing but the number of moles of solute present in 1 liter solution. Number of moles of solute present in 1 liter solution. And how can we calculate the number of moles? Number of moles can be calculated by weight by molecular weight. So the expression becomes weight by molecular weight into volume in liter. This is the expression. Now see that if we want to multiply these molarity with the volume in milliliter, in liter, then it becomes number of moles. That means amount of the substance. That means it also indicates the mass of a particular substance. So mass into volume remains constant because we know that in a chemical reaction the law of conservation of mass is maintained. That means conservation of mass is the main factor. So if the mass is conserved, therefore the mass in molarity into volume must be conserved. So therefore we can write for this particular reaction, for a particular redox reactions or whatever may be, M1 into B1 must be equal to M2 into V2. So molarity, initial molarity into volume equal to final molarity into final volume. But in some cases this equation is valid only in case where the reaction doesn't take place. The reaction doesn't take place. But if the reaction takes place in case of chemical reaction, another term must be used, because we know that in case of chemical reaction, suppose when no such type of reaction takes place, acid when combines with an acid, mixed with acid, base suppose mixed with a base, acid mixed with water, or base is diluted by water mixing with water. So in such cases we can use this equation, molarity into volume, initial molarity, initial volume equal to final molarity into final volume. But where the chemical reaction takes place, molarity must be transformed into normality of the solution. Now what is normality? First we have to find out the normality. Definition of the normality tells us that capital N equal to equivalent mass of the substance in 1 liter volume. How we can calculate the equivalent mass of the substance, equivalent part? That is the mass, that means weight taken divided by its equivalent weight of the substance into volume in liter. Now this is the expression, weight by equivalent weight into volume in liter. So again, if we multiply these two, normality into volume in liter, then it becomes the equivalent mass of the substance. Now what is the equivalent mass? We have to identify the equivalent mass and what is the difference between the molecular mass, atomic mass with this equivalent mass. Now, what is the equivalent weight? Suppose carbon combines with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. When combust in presence of oxygen to form carbon dioxide, say 12 gram of carbon combines with 32 gram of oxygen. Therefore, the mass ratio between carbon and oxygen becomes 3:8. Again, this carbon when combines with hydrogen 2H2, it forms methane, and here carbon is to hydrogen, mass ratio becomes 12:4, therefore 3:1. So the minimum amount of carbon comes into the reaction is 3 part. Minimum amount of hydrogen comes into the reaction is 1 part. Minimum amount of oxygen comes into the reaction is 8 part. So these are the equivalent weight of the corresponding element, because equivalent weight denotes the chemical reactivity, amount of the substance come into the reaction. If or whenever it combines with any other element, then it must combine with respect to this mass, or if or when it can be displaced by any other element, this amount of mass of carbon, hydrogen or oxygen can be displaced. So this is the equivalent weight. Now how can we calculate the equivalent weight of an element? Equivalent weight of an element is equal to nothing but atomic weight divided by valency. So as the valency, therefore we know that atomic weight is a fixed mass, therefore we can say that equivalent weight is proportional to 1 by valency. So it depends on valency. Those elements which show the variable valencies, they have different equivalent weights, like iron. It has two different valencies, 2 and 3. For this, equivalent weight of Fe2 plus equal to the atomic weight of iron is 56 divided by 2, and here equivalent weight of Fe3 plus, atomic weight of iron is 56 divided by C3. So equivalent weight is such a mass of the substance which is directly in proportional to 1 by V or inversely proportional to the valency. But molecular weight and atomic weight has no relation with the valency. This is the basic difference. Now how can we calculate the equivalent weight of a compound? By using this formula. Equivalent weight of a compound. Equivalent weight of a compound can be calculated by using this formula. This is the nothing but molecular weight of the substance divided by n factor. Now what is the n factor? For different species the n factors are different. Number 1, for an acid, this is the basicity of the acid. Basicity. Now we know that what is the basicity? Number of replaceable hydrogen atom. For HCl, this is the monobasic, so n factor becomes 1. For H2SO4, this is the dibasic, for n factor becomes 2. And for H3PO4, it is a tribasic, the n factor becomes 3. Again, for a basic substance, base, this is the acidity of the base. What is acidity? Number of replaceable OH minus for an alkali actually. So replaceable OH, that means for any OH, it has only one OH group, so the acidity becomes 1. That means n factor becomes 1. For calcium hydroxide, acidity becomes 2, therefore n factor becomes 2. And for aluminium hydroxide, the acidity becomes 3, therefore n factor becomes 3. Now, what is the n factor for a salt? For a salt, we can write this n factor as the number of cation, either cation or anion into the valency of the corresponding charge. Like in case of, suppose in case of sodium carbonate, the n factor is, if we take the sodium cation, the number of cation is 2 into valency of sodium is 1. If we take the anion, the number of anion is 1 into valency is 2. So whatever may be number of cation or anion with respect to its valency multiplied by valency, the product remains same. Therefore the n factor always remains same. Now, so these are the n factors of some acid, bases and salt. Now, if we calculate the n factor for a redox reaction, in case of a redox reaction either of an oxidant or a reductant, the n factor is nothing but the number of electrons transfer per mole with respect to only 1 mole. How many electrons is transferred with respect to 1 mole? This is the n factor for a redox reaction. Now we are discussing about the again molarity of the system, molarity of the substance actually solute. This is the weight by molecular weight into volume in liter. Weight by molecular weight into volume in liter. So if we express this weight by molecular weight into number of mole, then we can write this number of mole by volume in milliliter divided by 1000, and divided by 1000 now goes to the into 1000 in the numerator part. So it becomes number of mole divided by volume in milliliter into 1000 at the numerator. So therefore, if we multiply molarity by volume in milliliter, molarity into volume in milliliter, because strength into volume denotes the mass, amount of substance, and we know that according to the law of conservation of mass must be conserved in a chemical reaction, whatever may be, redox or whatever may be. So molarity into volume in ml equal to number of mole into 1000, which is called the millimole. Number of mole into 1000. So this is the millimole. If we take the volume in milliliter, then it becomes millimole. Again, in case of normality, already you have seen that according to the definition, equivalence by volume in liter, equivalent divided by volume in liter. What is equivalent? Equivalent by, if the volume in liter is expressed in volume in milliliter, then it becomes volume in milliliter into 1000. Just by this, because liter divided by liter, when expressed in milliliter, it is divided by 1000. So divided by 1000 goes to the numerator part into 1000. Now it becomes, if we multiply this normality with the volume in milliliter, it becomes milliequivalent, because equivalent into 1000, it becomes milliequivalent. So these two are the different terms, millimole and milliequivalent. Where we can use the millimole? Where no direct reaction takes place. If we want to balance the reaction, so if we have to balance the reaction, then we can use the millimole. But without balancing the reaction, by calculating the milliequivalent, without balancing the reaction, by calculating the milliequivalent, we can find out what is the mass of the substance goes into the reaction, what is the mass of the product obtained from this reaction. See this again. I shall see this particular then explain this by using an example later. First, normality equal to weight by equivalent to weight, volume in milliliter into 1000. Just this. Equivalent is equal to nothing but weight by equivalent to weight into 1000 by volume in milliliter, volume in milliliter. So it can be expressed as weight into 1000, numerator remains same, but the equivalent to weight can be expressed as molecular weight by n factor. Already you have learned equivalent to weight equal to molecular weight by n factor, and already you have learned in case of acid, this is the basicity is base, acidity in case of salt, number of cations or anions into valency, and that of for a redox reaction, n factor is nothing but the number of electron transfer per mole. So n factor. So now it becomes the denominator part contains n factor. So actually it goes to the numerator part like this: weight by molecular weight into 1000 by volume in milliliter into n factor will be separated. So in the second parenthesis, this is in the parenthesis, see this weight into 1000 by molecular weight into volume in milliliter. This is nothing but the molarity of the solution. So it can be expressed as capital M, molarity into n factor. So normality equal to, see the relation between normality and molarity. Normality equal to molarity into n factor. Now we can write that V1 into N1 if or whenever a reaction takes place. Suppose acid reacts with a base. So a reaction takes place here, salt plus water. A redox reaction, suppose permanganate is titrated against oxalic acid in case of sulfuric acid by using sulfuric acid. So permanganate actually is titrated against oxalic acid by using some sulfuric acid, or permanganate is titrated against FeSO4 by using some sulfuric acid. So in all these cases, these are the redox reactions. In all these cases, we can find out, we have to use this normality instead of molarity, because we know that normality actually related with the equivalent weight, and equivalent weight is nothing but the chemical reactivity, express the chemical reactivity of a particular substance. If or whenever it combines with others, how much of the substance goes into the combination. So V1N1 equal to V2N2. Now normality, instead of normality, we can write this molarity into n factor. So instead of N1, we can write this molarity M1 into N1, that is the n factor of the first substance. And instead of M2, we can write here molarity into n factor, that is M2 into N2. So ultimately, the total equation becomes V1 into M1 into N1 is equal to V2 into M2 into N2. Now, By solving this question, I am discussing about the millimole and milliequivalent. See the question, 20 milliliter of 0.1 molar barium chloride BaCl2 is mixed with 30 milliliter of 0.2 molar Al2SO4 whole 3 aluminum sulfate. What is the mass of barium sulfate formed? That means these two react with each other. So these two react. So first we have to write the reaction. Barium chloride reacts with aluminum sulfate Al2SO4 whole 3 to form barium sulfate and aluminum chloride. Now if we use the millimole concept, then we have to balance this equation. So to balance the sulfate, it becomes 3BaSO4. To balance the aluminium, it becomes 2AlCl3. Now to balance the chlorine, it becomes 3BaCl2. Now barium is balanced. Now we have to calculate the millimole of the substance. Here millimole, volume, this is the volume, this is the V1 and this is the molarity. So you have to multiply these two, 20 into 0.1. This is the millimole of the substance. 20 into 0.1, 0.2 millimole of the barium chloride is taken here. Now 30 into 0.2, so 20 into 0.1, that means 2 millimole. 30 into 0.2 here, 30 into 0.2, that means 6 millimole. And initially no barium sulfate and no aluminum chloride is formed. Now final millimole, final, this is the at initial and this is at final, this is at final millimole. How many? See this, 2 millimole of barium chloride is taken, and that's why it is called the limiting reagent, which is present in a chemical reaction as a reactant which is present in less amount. See this, number of millimole of barium chloride is 2 and that of aluminum sulfate is 6, and that's why this is called the limiting reagent. So it is consumed, completely consumed in the reaction. So it becomes 0. At the final state, it becomes 0. Now see the reaction. 3 moles combines with 1 mole. Therefore 2 moles combines with 2 by 3 mole. This is by the unitary method. We have to balance this equation. 3 moles of barium chloride combines with 1 mole of aluminum sulfate. So 2 millimoles combines with 2 by 3. Initially it was 6. So finally it comes to 6 minus 2 by 3. Now barium sulfate, from 3 moles or 3 millimole, we obtain 3 millimole of barium sulfate. So from 2 millimoles of barium chloride, we obtain 2 millimole of barium sulfate. So this is the number of millimole of barium sulfate produced. So millimole of barium sulfate is equal to 2. Barium sulfate equal to 2. Now millimole of barium sulfate can be written as weight by molecular weight into 1000. This is the expression of millimole is equal to 2. So we can write this weight of the barium sulfate obtained. This is nothing but 2 into molecular weight divided by 1000, and we know that molecular weight of barium sulfate is 233. That means 2 into 233 divided by 1000. So this is equal to 0.466 gram. 466 gram. This is the mass of the barium sulfate obtained. Now, if we want to solve this particular question without balancing the reaction, suppose the reaction is, we know that barium chloride plus aluminum sulfate, without balancing the reaction, the products are barium sulfate and aluminum chloride. So we have to calculate the milliequivalent in this case. So milliequivalent, how can we calculate? 20 milliliter, this is the volume, this is the molarity 0.1, and the N factor of barium chloride. See, the cation is barium here, 1 cation into its valency 2. So this is the N factor, this is salt. So number of cation into its valency, this is 2. That means 4 milliequivalent. Aluminum sulfate, see this, volume is 30 into 0.2, because we have to multiply an N factor with the molarity. So here the n factor is, see this, number of aluminium is 2, its valency is 3, so therefore the n factor becomes 6 and this is 36. Initially it was 0 and aluminum chloride also it was 0. This is the initial part. And if we calculate the milli equivalent at the final stage after the completion of the reaction, here see this, barium chloride is the limiting reagent present in less amount as compared to the aluminum sulfate. So it will be consumed totally 0. It remains 36 minus 4, 32. It forms 4. It also forms 4. That means, so without balancing this equation, only by through the concept of milli equivalent, we can find out the millimole, milli equivalent of barium sulfate obtained or milli equivalent of aluminum chloride obtained. So without balancing this equation, no need to balance this reaction. So therefore, milli equivalent of barium sulfate obtained equal to 4. Now milli equivalent, what is the expression of milli equivalent? We know that weight divided by equivalent weight of the substance into 1000. This is the expression of milli equivalent equal to 4. Now therefore weight of the substance, weight of barium sulfate obtained is equal to 4 into equivalent weight of the substance into 1000. Now what is the equivalent weight of the substance? This is the molecular weight by n factor. The molecular weight is 233 and here the n factor is 2. See this, barium sulfate, number of cation is 1 and its valency, barium group 2 element, so valence is 2. So 1 into 2, that means 2. N factor, equivalent weight is the molecular weight by n factor into 1000. So see the value, gram, see the value 0.466, which is same with the previous example. This part is related to the titration. We know that an indicator is needed to find out the end point of a titration. So if we use potassium permanganate, potassium dichromate as the titer, then Burette reading shows the indicator value V1, but problem is that potassium permanganate and dichromate both are the colored substance, so no need to use any indicator. These are the self indicator. By changing their color either in acidic medium or in basic medium, they indicate the end point, and that's why these are called the self indicators. No need to use the indicator when we use these are the titer. Now if we titrate any substance against the potassium permanganate, then it is called the permanganometry. If we titrate against potassium dichromate, known as the dichromatometry. But such type of titration, there are two standard solutions. Number one is primary standard and the number two is secondary standard. What are called standard solutions? Standard solutions are those solutions with respect to which we can determine the strength of a given solution. So which are called the standard solutions? Standard solutions are those solutions with respect to which we can standardize, we can calculate the strength of a given solution. Now there are two different types of standard solution. One is primary and other is secondary. Primary standard never changes their strength with respect to time or with respect to the condition in the laboratory. Such type of primary standard is dichromate, potassium dichromate, oxalic acid are called the primary standard. But secondary standard change their strength with respect to the time as well as temperature or laboratory condition. Potassium permanganate may change their strength, sodium hydroxide, sulfuric acid, all can change their strength, and that's why these are called the secondary standard solution. Now iodimetric titration. What is iodimetry? Direct. If we titrate iodine direct with respect to a titer like thiosulfate here, so such type of titration where tetrathionate and iodide minus are obtained, such type of titration are called iodimetric titration. But if from any reaction, chemical reaction, it is an oxidant, dichromate H+, it oxidizes iodine minus to form iodine, it liberates iodine, then this liberated iodine is titrated against thiosulfate to form tetrathionate and I-. This state is called the iodometric titration and the process is iodometry. One is iodimetry, direct titration of iodine, another is iodometry. It is obtained, iodine is obtained through a chemical reaction where an oxidant is used which oxidizes the I- iodine, and that iodine is secondarily titrated against a standard solution thiosulfate known as the iodometric titration. See this question, 25 ml M by 4 FeSO4 solution is oxidized by X ml M by 8 acidified KMnO4 solution. Find the value of X. These two are combined to form a redox reaction. Ferrous sulfate is actually oxidized by acidified KMnO4. So we have to use the normality concept here. See this, the reaction ferrous is oxidized to ferric by removal of one electron. So equivalent weight of ferrous sulfate equal to molecular weight divided by 1 electron transfer, so divided by 1. So equivalent weight of ferrous sulfate is nothing but equivalent weight of ferrous sulfate is molecular weight divided by 1. So with respect to this, we can say that if 1000 ml solution contains 1 gram equivalent of ferrous sulfate, then we can see that that strength is called the 1 normal solution. So 1 normal ferrous sulfate solution is the 1 molar solution because molecular weight by 1, so 1 molar solution. So M by 4, see this, the strength M by 4. Therefore M by 4 FeSO4 can be written as N by 4 solution. Clear? So M by 4 of ferrous sulfate can be written as N by 4 because molarity here is the normality. Now in case of permanganate, acidified condition, it converts to Mn2 plus 4H2O. Already we have seen the redox reaction, how it can be balanced, 8H plus 5 electron, Mn2 plus 4H2O. Now equivalent weight of KMnO4. What is the equivalent weight? Number of electron transfer per mole is 5, therefore molecular weight by 5. So if 1000 cc contains equivalent weight, that strength of the solution is 1 normal. So 1 normal potassium permanganate solution, 1000 cc contains M by 5, so M by 5 solution, molarity by 5. Therefore 1 molar equal to 5 into this, 5 normal. Here the strength is M by 8, so molarity by 8 KMnO4 is nothing but 5M by 8 solution. So now we can say that V1 into N1 is equal to V2 into N2 because these two react with each other, so you have to convert this into the normality. So you have to convert this into the normality, 5 normality by 8, this is the normality, 5 normality by 8. So we have to convert this into the normality at first because these two react with each other. Now V1 N1 is equal to V2 into N2. What is the V1 here? 25 ml. What is the N1 here? N by 4. So 25 into N by 4. V2 here X. N2 here 5N by 8. 5N by 8. So by solving this, we can find out the value of X, that is the 10 milliliter. So find the value of X, that is the 10 milliliter.